Hello there. Today, we're diving into some incredibly profound lessons about life, covering everything from suffering and loneliness to anxiety. And it all comes from a recent live Q&A with the amazing intuitive counselor Michio. Let's get right into it. So, just so you know, what we've put together here is a summary of one of her recent YouTube live sessions. We've taken the key questions her audience asked and her really powerful answers and distilled them into this explainer, just to help you really grasp these amazing perspectives. And a quick heads up, this explainer is based on a live stream that was archived back on October 12, 2025. We're going to cover all the big highlights, but if you want the full, in-depth conversation, you can always find the original video. Just use the translation function to watch it. So what's on the roadmap for today? Well, we'll be looking at 5 key topics that came up. We'll start with the soul's wish for experience, then dig into the real reason for loneliness. After that, we'll reframe anxiety as creative energy, listen to the signs our bodies send us, and finally, talk about navigating a controlled society by looking inward. First up, we're tackling a massive question, one that so many of us wrestle with. Why do we go through long periods of suffering? Is there actually a higher purpose to it all? The whole conversation kicked off with a really moving question from a viewer who's been living with a chronic illness. They asked if all this difficulty was a form of soul polishing, or tamashi migaki, as it's known in Japanese. You know, this idea that hardship is meant to refine our spirit. And Michio's response was all about this huge shift in perspective. She suggests we stop seeing suffering as some kind of tough training, a trial we just have to grit our teeth and endure, and instead, see it as a joyful experience for the soul. It's this chosen opportunity for our soul to feel and learn something totally new, even if, for us humans, it's incredibly painful. So here's the core idea. Our souls came to this physical world with one main goal: to experience everything. I mean, think about a baby who just wants to touch and taste everything to figure out the world. Our soul is kind of like that. It wants to know the full spectrum, the warmth, the cold, the happy, the sad. From this point of view, its ultimate purpose is just to collect all of these experiences, not just the good ones. Okay, but if our souls are here for this rich experience, then why do so many of us feel so disconnected and alone? Well, that brings us right to our next topic, the true reason we feel lonely. And this next question, wow, it really hits home for a lot of people. A viewer talked about that painful feeling of being in a group or even with family and just feeling totally isolated and misunderstood. Intuitive counselor Michio's answer was so simple but so powerful. She said, "Your true understander is not outside of you, they are inside." And that one sentence just flips the whole problem on its head. The solution isn't out there somewhere, it's in here. So why is looking inward so critical? Well, because trying to get 100% understanding from someone else is what she calls an impossible game. In Japanese, it's murige, basically a game you can't win. Think about it. Every single one of us has a totally unique frequency, a unique history. Nobody can ever completely get what it's like to be you. So if you're always looking for that, you're always going to be disappointed. The path out of that loneliness, then, is this 4-step journey inward. First, you just shift your focus from out there to in here. Then you start to really acknowledge your own feelings, your own story, your own truth. The real goal is to become your own best friend, the one person who gets you completely. And when you do that, you find this sense of wholeness that has absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. All right, next up, let's totally transform how we think about anxiety. What if it wasn't a flaw or a disorder at all? What if it's actually a sign of this incredible untapped power that you have inside you? This whole topic came from a really vulnerable question. A viewer shared that they've been dealing with anxiety and panic attacks for decades, relying on medication and just living with this constant fear that they'll never be free. It's such a heavy burden. And here's where Michio offers this radical reframe. She says instead of seeing anxiety as this negative thing we have to suppress or medicate away, what if we see it as powerful, creative energy that just has nowhere to go? It's a sign that something potent and vital inside you is just dying to be expressed. So if that energy is all bottled up and causing anxiety, the answer is to give it a new job to do. Instead of letting it spin out into fear, you can consciously channel it somewhere else. Go sing your heart out at karaoke. Go to a concert and just lose yourself in the music. Draw, paint, build something. Anything that lets that powerful energy out in a constructive way. And I absolutely love this little mental trick she shared. When you feel those anxious thoughts starting to spiral, just try to take a step back, look at them with a sense of humor, and say to yourself, wow, my imagination is on fire today. I'm so creative. By doing that, you reframe those worst-case scenarios as just a story from your creative mind. You're not a victim of your thoughts anymore. You're just the observer. Okay, from the mind, let's move to the body. Next, we're going to explore the incredible intelligence of our physical selves and how they're constantly sending us messages about what's going on inside. This conversation got started because of a super specific question. A viewer was asking why they kept getting swelling and breakouts, but only on the left side of their face. And what's so fascinating is that this isn't random at all. It's totally symbolic. Let's break down the symbolism here. In a lot of spiritual traditions, the left side of the body is connected to our inner world, our mental, spiritual, and emotional side. And things like swelling or breakouts, well, they often represent emotions that we've pushed down, pent-up frustrations and feelings that we've just been quietly enduring. So the bottom line is this: your body is sending you a direct message. All those little daily frustrations you just swallow, the things you wanted to say but didn't, that energy doesn't just vanish. It has to go somewhere. And a lot of the time, it shows up as physical symptoms. Your body really is your wisest messenger. All right, for our final section, we are zooming out to tackle a bigger, more modern fear. How do we find our own sense of freedom in a world that can feel more and more controlled? A viewer brought up this really relatable anxiety about feeling swept up by these huge societal forces and the fear that comes with trying to just stay true to yourself in the middle of it all. Now, intuitive counselor Michiyo offered a really high-level spiritual perspective on this that's a bit of a mind-bender. She explained that, in a way, we're already living in a controlled system. But here's the twist. It's a system that our souls, on some level, all agreed to come here and experience together. This is where it gets really interesting. We tend to think the fight for freedom is against all the external stuff, the rules, the government, social pressure. But Michio argues that the real control, the one that truly matters, is our own inner manager. You know that voice in your head? The one that's constantly telling you what you should do, what you must do, who you're supposed to be? That's the real controller. And that brings us to the ultimate point here. True freedom isn't really about fighting the world out there. It's about liberating yourself from your own internal rules and your own self-judgments. When you free yourself from that inner manager, you'd be amazed how little power the outside world actually has over you. So as we start to wrap this up, let's just quickly pull together all these powerful lessons because they all point in one really empowering direction. The central message that runs through every single one of these topics is profound self-empowerment. Your suffering, it's just an experience, not a punishment. Your greatest companion, it's you. Your anxiety, that's your creative superpower. Your body, it's your wisest messenger. And your true freedom, it has always been an inside job. And that leaves us with one final, powerful question to take away with you. After everything we've talked about, what is one thing, even a small thing, that you will do today to make your soul happy?